Hello YouTubers, this is Cessna Ace back again with another mega LaserDisc ads video. I haven't added any LaserDiscs to my collection over the past week, however I still have at least 60 that are recent ads that I haven't yet shown, so I'm going to be showing as many of those as I can without making this video too long. I'm going to be showing them in alphabetical order. But first up, I'm going to show a disc that is not a recent edition, however it is a significant release. I got this disc sometime around 83 or 84. I got my first player in 84. Back then, players were expensive. My first player was an NAD 5900, which I got used for $450. I didn't want to be in a position of having this expensive player and nothing to play on it, so about a year or 2 years before I got the player, I started buying discs, and this is one of the discs I bought. Now, after this film had its original theatrical release, all home video releases have had a different incidental score or an altered incidental score and songs swapped out for some of the songs that are in the movie. This is the only known home video release of this movie to retain the original theatrical soundtrack. Up to now, this of course could change in the future, but as of now, no release, not DVD, not Blu-ray, retains the original theatrical soundtrack. They have the altered soundtrack. So if you want the original theatrical soundtrack, you're going to have to get this LaserDisc. The Electric Horseman, published by MCA Video Disc Incorporated. Now, MCA co-developed the format with Philips Magnavox, and their initial releases were under the name MCA Discovision, but sometime around 1980 they sold everything LaserDisc related to Pioneer, at which point they changed over and used the name MCA Video Disc Incorporated, which, you know, worked out nicely because their video cassette releases were being released under the name MCA Video Cassette Incorporated. Now, every release that I have from MCA Video Disc Incorporated was manufactured in Japan by Pioneer. Now, this disc still plays perfectly, but the main problem with this release, other than the fact that it's not letterboxed, is that it's time compressed. That's so that they could fit the whole movie on one disc. Now, about the time that this was published, Pioneer had either developed or was about to announce the development of CAA, which was a refinement of CLV. However, no packaging uses CAA. So even discs that were made using CAA, they're going to say CLV on the packaging. Now, the main problem with CLV was that there was video crosstalk and distortion, and CAA took care of that problem. The only LaserDisc manufacturer that didn't use CAA discs was 3M, and they didn't need to because they manufactured their discs differently than everybody else, and so they didn't have the crosstalk problem. So they never had to use the CAA disc. Pioneer came out with CAA 45s. These would use the entire surface of the disc to put 45 minutes worth of video, plus analog and digital soundtracks, except in PAL territories because they couldn't put both analog and digital on the same discs. They could get more time on the discs, but for some reason they couldn't fit both analog and digital on the same disc. So the early PAL LaserDiscs have analog only soundtracks, and then the later ones have digital only. Whereas in the US, they wanted to maintain backwards compatibility with the older releases and the older players. So all releases have analog soundtracks, but then once they introduced digital, they would also add digital soundtracks. After CAA 45, I can't remember if they came out with CAA 50s, but I know they came out with CAA 55s. There were quite a number of those. And CAA 60s, there were a ton of those. And CAA 65s, which would hold 65 minutes per side, there were a handful of those. And then the final version, CAA 70, which would hold 70 minutes per side, plus digital audio and everything. But there are no known CAA 70 releases. CAA was never put on packaging, so it's very difficult to tell whether you've got a CAA or a CLV disc, because even CAA discs say CLV on them. The whole reason I went into all that has to do with films like this. Fearless. This is in widescreen, preserving the original aspect ratio of 1.85 to 1. This is from Warner Home Video, release 12986. The reason I brought up CAA, this movie only runs 122 minutes. They could have released it with one side CAA 60 and the other side CAA 65, but they didn't. What they did instead was, well, I'm just going to refer to CAA as CLV. Sides 1 and 2, CLV. Side 3, CAV. That features the plane crash. Rated R for language and airplane crash realism. But what's really weird are there are releases with a comparable running time, 122, 123, 124 minutes, on 2 CLV discs. It doesn't make sense. And we're talking about after they came out with CAA 65s. It just doesn't make sense. But then I never understood why they didn't come out and say, or make a point of saying that these discs were in CAA 65 or whatever, or in the CAA mode, and then have a little blurb about how it was compatible with all LaserDisc players, and the CAA discs had higher quality. They could have had a little paragraph that big saying that, but they never did. Okay, next up, Henry V. In widescreen from CBS Fox Video. This is release 2575-85. And I don't see where they say it just says letterbox. It doesn't say what the aspect ratio is. Made in Japan. Two discs. Fox splurged and went with a gatefold jacket. The spine on this one's not cracked, so I'm not opening it all the way. Okay. This includes the making of documentary, A Little Touch of Harry. Okay, another release from CBS Fox Video. I believe this one's in widescreen also. release 1012-80. Directed by Martin Ritt. Now, if I remember correctly, I haven't gone back to the LaserDisc database to double check it, but if I remember correctly, this is one of the titles I added to the database. New titles being added all the time. Intimate Power from Image Entertainment, under license from HBO Video. Jacket's in really nice condition. This is one I picked up at the flea market for $3. Catalog reference number is ID 7426HB. Digital sound, analog sound with CX noise reduction. So you have your choice. Listen to it with digital sound or with analog sound. Okay, I already have another release of this film on LaserDisc. In fact, I have a better release of this film on LaserDisc, which included the making of documentary and some other things. This is just the film and the theatrical trailer. It's a Wonderful Life. Both of the releases I have are from Republic Pictures Home Video. But the other release I have has a gatefold jacket and this one doesn't. Republic Pictures Home Video release LV22060. I say, well, if you already have it on LaserDisc, but a better release, why'd you get that? That's why I am. I have 3 different LaserDisc releases of Blade Runner, in fact, on 3 different home video labels. Okay, a lot of music titles on LaserDisc. Makes sense, as the LaserDisc format launched with stereo. And, of course, you have digital audio. The Moody Blues. A Night at Red Rocks with the Colorado Symphony Orchestra. This is from Polygram Video. One thing I don't like about Polygram videos, their reference numbers are always so long. 440 dash, I can't make that out because the font is so small. But anyway, they used long catalog numbers. And besides, if you go to the LaserDisc database and look up member Cessna Ace, you can find it. Okay, the package. From Image Entertainment under license from Orion Home Video. This is release ID 95040R. No, actually it's not a 0, it's an O. ID 95040R for Orion. I hate how some publishers tried to get away with calling this CD video. All had to do with the fact that compact disc format was hugely popular and the LaserDisc format wasn't. But you wouldn't have the CD format without the LaserDisc format, because the technology used with the CDs was developed for the LaserDisc format. Every optical disc format out there uses technology that is patented for the LaserDisc format, which is why Sony spent so much money buying Discovision Associates patents. I think I might have already had this one on LaserDisc, but I got it anyway. Pinocchio. We have it on VHS and we have it on DVD. Disney really supported the LaserDisc format. They came out with a lot of LaserDisc. Walt Disney Home Video release 239AS. Good with Dolby Surround. They actually got that right. This is Punchline from RCA Columbia Pictures Home Video. What I was referring to about getting right is that they actually have Sally Field's name under Sally Field and Tom Hanks' name under Tom Hanks. I have found numerous releases where they have it reversed because of contractual arrangements, like they have to list Tom Hanks' name first or whatever, but they have, for aesthetic reasons, the pictures in a different order. But it just so happened on this release they matched up. RCA Columbia Pictures Home Video release 33010. This label got its start when RCA had their CED format. They wanted to come out with a label that would be across all platforms: CED, LaserDisc, Betamax, VHS. So they partnered up with Columbia Pictures to form RCA Columbia Pictures Home Video. Okay. 2 discs, by the way, without a gatefold jacket. Okay, this is a PAL standard release, and it's sealed. And I was just verifying that it's a German release. Woody Allen classic, Purple Rose of Cairo. This I purchased from Music and More in the Netherlands, even though, like I said, it's a German release. From VCL Communications, SEITEN, I take it that means 2 sides. Catalog reference number PLFGB 30121. Digital audio. Looks like it says that it is dubbed in German, but I'm not sure. Pioneer LDCE Limited. The distributor based in Munich. I have a standing rule about sealed LaserDiscs. I don't open them. And I try and find one that is not sealed. Although I still can't play PAL standard discs, so it doesn't matter. Raw deal. HBO video. Release TVL 9982. HBO is one of those labels that self-distributed and then eventually went with Image to distribute their titles. Vestron did the same thing. Doesn't say it's in widescreen or letterbox, so I'm going to assume it's not. Okay. Revenge of the Pink Panther. Letterboxed. This is from MGM UA, another company that really supported the format. They came out with a ton of releases. They don't mention what the aspect ratio is. I wish they hadn't have done that, what they did here, though. They list the chapters in a very clumsy way, in paragraph form. Kind of clumsy way to do it. MGM UA release ML102206. Includes the original theatrical trailer. Okay. The Rookie, Clint Eastwood. Side 3, featuring the warehouse inferno and the airport pursuit sequences, is presented in the CAV full feature format. The Rookie is presented in a letterbox widescreen format, preserving the scope aspect ratio of its original theatrical presentation, but it doesn't say what that aspect ratio is. Adult action. 2 discs. Runs 121 minutes. But at least side 3 is in CAV mode. At least they gave us that. Warner Home Video not only, or Warner Brothers not only supported the format with a lot of releases, they built 2 different LaserDisc manufacturing facilities, one in the US and one in Germany, called WEA Manufacturing, and they still make DVDs and CDs and whatever else. Okay, I had never heard of this Western before, although I've heard of all 3 of the main stars. Rough Night in Jericho. Letterboxed, starring Dean Martin, George Papard, and Gene Simmons. She was in Spartacus. She played Mrs. Spartacus. From MCA Universal Home Video. Release 42295. The film on this LaserDisc is presented in a 2.35 to 1 aspect ratio of the original 35mm anamorphic theatrical prints. Okay, I already have this letterboxed on DVD, but hey, Stanley Kubrick fan. The Shining. I just watched this yesterday. Not this LaserDisc. It was on one of the cable channels, and I watched it. And my eldest came in and said, we have that. You have that. And I said, yeah, I know. But my wife does the same thing. She watches movies that we have on DVD when they come on TV. Okay, this is Warner Home Video release 11079A/B. As I've mentioned in the past, usually when I come across one that has A/B at the end of the reference number, it's one that's been re-released. It's a re-release. The previous release will have the same reference number, but won't have AB on it, or after it. 2 discs, but not a gatefold jacket, if I didn't already say. Shout at the Devil. From Image Entertainment, under license from Vestron Video. Originally released theatrically by American International. Directed by Peter Hunt. That name sounds familiar. I'm thinking he directed one of the sequels to Planet of the Apes. But I might be misremembering. That name does sound familiar. I'm one of those people that whenever I would go to the movies, I would sit there and watch the credits. Which you got to pay off on sometimes. This is one of these free cases, that LaserDisc cases that ABCLasers sent me for nothing. So again, thanks to Debbie. Airplane, you were rewarded if you stayed till the end of the credits, and the same is true of the original The Muppet Movie. Blake Edwards film. Skin Deep. The comedy that glows in the dark. Licensed from Media Home Entertainment, or Home Video, or whatever. Media was the very first label that Image signed. There's that CD video logo again. Dolby Surround. Release ID 6632ME for media. Doesn't have the Twin Towers on it, but I saw this jacket, I couldn't help but think of 9/11. This is a Charlton Heston film. Skyjacked. It's not a very realistic looking cockpit. This is from MGM UA Home Video. Includes the original theatrical trailer. Is letterboxed, although it doesn't say what the aspect ratio is. Release ML100290. Reminds me, I think it was Airport 1975 that he was in. And if I remember correctly, it was Airport 77 that had Jimmy Stewart in it. And yes, I even went and saw the Concorde, Airport 79, although I saw it in a drive-in. I had a drive-in. Really implausible movie that one was, because there is a bit where they not only roll the Concorde. I have to go. Until next time, stay awesome.